Good day, everyone. When you hear the word bilingual education, what you might come to think of first is that a type of education which there are two languages as media for instruction. Indeed, that is its general idea. In fact, here in the Philippines, we have a policy about that called bilingual education policy. In this show, we are going to talk about the 1987 DEC Department Order No. 9 or the Bilingual Education Policy. I am Roselyn Katabay and welcome to my show. By the cooperation of these students taking up Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English from Asbury College Incorporated, let us further know about DEC Department Order No. 9 or the Bilingual Education Policy by answering these questions. For the first question, let us introduce our first three interviewees. So the question is, how was the language policy being enacted in schools?
The Department Order No. 9 or the Bilingual Education Policy is being enacted in school by the personally separate use of Filipino and English as the media of instructions in specific subject areas.
So by the Bilingual Education Policy, Filipino is the medium of instructions in schools for all subjects except natural science and mathematics, for which English is used. Because of this policy, students are able to participate in the discussion, or they can easily follow the lesson that the teacher is teaching.
It is also by the link between language, employment, academic success, and economy was a key part of the language policy imposed by schools. Despite the fact that these were policies for young children who in many cases were a number of years away from finding themselves in situations.
For the second question, what are the language issues associated with language policy?
So, to answer that question, there are a lot of language issues according to that bilingual policy. One example is about the lack of language development opportunity. So, learning two languages at the same time is very confusing, especially for a child who is still learning his or her native language, and at the same time, being a bilingual person is not that easy.
One of the language issues that associated with language policy is the premature transition to English, where bilingual programs actually use native language instruction. Teachers are under tremendous pressures to make a premature transition into English language instruction or to exit the students from bilingual programs into regular English language classrooms. So, premature transitioning is forced by shortage of bilingual teachers, opposition to bilingual education, and early subject matter achievement testing in the English language.
So, the next issue is the limited use of the native language. So, we all know that in education, we are using English or Filipino. We don't use our native language or mother tongue. Maybe some instructors let students use it in expressing their answers, opinions, and etc., but it is limited. It is because there is a language policy that we should use English and Filipino or our second language in our academic field.
So based on the issues mentioned a while ago, how are these issues seen in actual language instruction?
In a society that is creating increasingly diverse classroom, teachers are more and more likely to encounter students with whom they do not share a first language or dialect in a native culture. An understanding of linguistics can help teachers see that the discourse pattern they value are aspects of their own cultures and backgrounds. They are neither universal nor inherently more valid than other possible patterns. Without such an understanding, teachers sometimes assume that there is something wrong with students whose ways of using language are not what they expect.
An example of this is there are many students who do not know how to speak the English language, and there are also many teachers who use this language in teaching. So how can students learn if they do not understand what their teachers want to teach? Because of this, the students will have a fear of being active in the class because they cannot share their good ideas through the English language. And it can cause a slow learning. For me, the best way that teacher can do is to encourage his or her students to be not afraid in using and learning English language.
And lastly, representing the whole group, do you agree or disagree with the policy? Please explain.
I agree the policy about bilingual education policy because in the first place, bilingual policy aims at achievement of competence in both Filipino and English at the national level through the teaching of both languages and their use as media of instruction, all levels that will enhance the learning capabilities of every student.
I agree with DEC Department Order Number 9, Bilingual Education Policy, because for me, it helps students effectively connect with people of different cultures and backgrounds, increasing their ability to empathize with others. It also increases their cognitive development. Children that know a second language perform better in tasks that call for creative thinking pattern, recognition, and problem solving. They become better academic achiever and improve their memory by sharing their thoughts or express their wants or ideas using their mother tongue.
In conclusion, bilingual education policy is a form of education in which information is presented to the students in two languages. Technically, any educational system that utilizes more than one language is bilingual. This means that many school programs are bilingual. That is all. Thank you for listening.